since Friday afternoon, I believe it is, all of the board members have received numerous emails. And one of the things, when you have gathered public input, I don't think June is an appropriate time that we can have an opportunity to have feedback from. I think it's extremely important not only that we hear from parents, but we hear from staff and from students, because I got emails from all of those.
I'd like to see you take some consideration into account for the original proposal that was submitted by Manual regarding their particular process of early review. I know that that's something, if they've gone through the trouble of actually putting that in there, I'd like to see the administration look at that. Also, would like to take a look at the idea, and this is, I wish I can take credit for this, but it's an administrator's idea, of looking at, if the issue is that we have performance and manual, and I'm thinking obviously there's very well represented here, but if we're looking at performance and manual having a direct detrimental impact on some of the other schools within our district, I'd like to know if it'd be possible to take a look at having those students' performance track back to their original reside school or resides high school in much the same way that the Gatton Academy's students, their performance tracks back to their original district.
I know that the magnet study was accepted by the board, but it was not approved by the board. And I know that there's been work and a lot of time spent by this committee potentially for 14 months. But I don't sense that this particular thing that we're talking about is the priority of this board. We are a district of innovation. And without this innovative way and differences among our schools and how we pick them and pick the students that attend them, will we be destroying what makes us great as a community and what makes our schools great? And I'm going to get a little angry because I thought we switched this, where magnet schools are now within academics, that no longer is this just an issue of student assignment and student placement. We've gotten beyond that. We're a district. This is about student achievement and what's best for all our children. I'm offended that this is a student assignment type thing. This is what is going to be educating our children. These SBDMs formulated what curriculum they want to have. They formulated these ideas, and we are usurping that by going to this increasing consistency idea as being an overriding guideline.
I'd like to talk about the manual proposal that we have, heard about, and I'd like to talk about siblings, and I'd like to talk about these things, and I'm not feeling when we're going to get a chance to actually talk about all the parts of these things before, there is a recommendation.
My comment, and this is the part about board meetings being in public that I don't like, but that's the way it is. If the management doesn't do a good enough job, you got to call the ball in public. This is not acceptable as a work product. 14 months ago, we got a third-party consultant to come in and look around. The core of their observation, as I would summarize it, is Jefferson County built a magnet-based choice process in response to the desegregation era and as a methodology for getting out of the court-ordered busing and into a choice-based system. There's a lot of good that's come out of that, but over time a lot of randomness has built up into the system and a lot of habits that have not been re-examined for a long time. Among the issues that were identified were access is unequal because there's so much variation that people can't figure out what the heck is going on. And parents who happen to work between 9 and 5 can't necessarily drop off paper. Plus, we're not in a drop-off paper kind of world for the most part. On the other hand, we have these great places where you have to audition as a near-professional musician, and we're not interested in destroying that sort of thing. So What we need is some nuance and modernization here. And I think we all get it. You could draw a line through a stay-nine and get the changes in the assortment, but that's not the goal. We want to improve the choices for the families in the district, and we want to improve the access so that, hold on, instead of, and you know, not all the manual parents are going to love this. Instead of 50% of the families getting to choose their school, we got to get that up to a much higher level. The inability to access schools, in my opinion, favors families with more flexibility and more bandwidth to work the bureaucracy. We got to get after all that stuff, but we've got to do it in a nuanced way that values what we've got and makes it better. So my 2 cents is, don't bother coming back in June. Let's get this in a good framework. So I don't know what you're going to do with that, but I feel like that's pretty consistent from the board, right? I mean, nobody wants to see this in June, but neither do we want it to drop and just say everything is perfect as it is, right? I mean, we're all up for this.
No.